In the previous episode of Mindful Moments, we discussed the concepts of memes and meme triads. A meme is simply a belief inherited from others, usually a family member. The idea behind using meme triads is to move from a problem-focused paradigm to a solution-focused paradigm. One of the goals of mindfulness is to begin to think in terms of solutions instead of in terms of problems. When we start thinking in terms of solutions, we begin to live more effective lives using the power of intention. The power of intention is one of the skills of mindfulness. So by living deliberately and with intention, we move to a solution-focused paradigm. To illustrate the difference between a problem-focused paradigm and a solution-focused paradigm, and how to move from one to the other, we'll return to the example discussed in the previous episode. The problematic meme in that episode is, my partner must be responsible for my happiness. So let's graph this meme out. It may help to draw a triangle on a sheet of paper to help you conceptualize the activity. You may wish to pause the video until you do so. Now that you've had your triangle drawn out, picture each side with one of these components. The first side of the triangle is, what is the problem? The problem meme is, I believe my partner must be responsible for my happiness. The second leg of the triangle is, why is this a problem? And of course, this is a problem because my partner is getting tired of being responsible for my happiness. And then finally, the third leg, how is this problem maintained? In this example, the problem is maintained because I believe my partner must be responsible for my happiness, but my partner has grown tired of being responsible for my happiness. If I try to solve the problem by insisting even more that my partner be responsible for my happiness, she reacts by getting even more tired of being responsible for it. The first step in moving towards a solution is to eliminate the problem-based meme. Since each meme has three components, and all three components are interrelated like the legs of a triangle and dependent on each other, we can choose any of the three components to change, and by changing any one of those, we transform the entire meme. In the example we're using now, let's look at what happens when we change any of the three components. Let's start with the what component. This component is, my partner must be responsible for my happiness. What would happen if this component was changed to, I will be responsible for my own happiness? If we make this change, what does it do to the other two components? If the what component is now changed to I will be responsible for my own happiness, let's look at what this does to the why component. The why component is, my partner is getting tired of being responsible for my happiness. So if the what component in this triangle is changed to I will be responsible for my own happiness, then the why component is altered as well, because if I am now responsible for my own happiness, and my partner is no longer responsible for my happiness and has no reason to be tired. Now let's look at the how component when the what component has been changed to I will be responsible for my own happiness. The answer to the question, how is the problem maintained, is that the more tired my partner gets of being responsible for my happiness, the more pressure I put on her to take that responsibility. But if the what component has changed, and I have now learned to be responsible for my own happiness, then there's no need to pressure my partner to take that responsibility. So by changing the what component of the triad, we've changed all three legs of the triangle, and therefore all three components, and transformed the meme into something more productive, or a solution-focused meme. Now let's examine what happens if we focus on changing the what component. The what component in the problem-focused example is, my partner is getting tired of being responsible for my happiness. In this case, I can't change the why component because it deals with my partner's thoughts and feeling, and not my own. And I can't force my partner to change her feelings if she doesn't want to. But let's just assume that hypothetically she decides to bear the burden of my happiness even though she's tired of it. If that's the case, what happens with the how component? The how component is no longer an issue, because if my partner has agreed to continue to bear the burden of responsibility for my happiness, even if she's tired of it, then I have no reason to continue to pressure her to do so. Therefore, the how component is no longer relevant. Granted, this is not the optimal solution because it involves trying to get another person to change instead of taking responsibility for my own emotional well-being. Nonetheless, this is the solution that most people are attempting when they seek the aid of a relationship therapist or when they have problems with their relationships. So, if the why component is altered in any way, what does that do to the what component? If the what component is my partner must be responsible for my happiness, and my partner has agreed to be responsible for my happiness, then there is no problem. Not for me at least, my partner might feel differently. Finally, let's look at what happens when we change the how component. If the how component is that I pressure my spouse to be responsible for my happiness whenever she complains that she's tired of being responsible for my happiness, I could change it by not pressuring her to take that responsibility. If I do that, the what component of my partner must be responsible for my happiness is irrelevant, since I'm no longer pressuring her. And since I'm no longer pressuring her, she no longer feels tired of having the responsibility for my happiness, thereby changing the why component as well. In this illustration, you can already see elements of moving from a problem-focused paradigm to a solution-focused paradigm. Now let's take this a step further by exploring the solution-focused meme triad. Looking at the problem-focused triad, the central issue is my happiness. The problem manifests because I am trying to derive my happiness from the actions and feelings of someone else, my partner. What happens if I move to a solution-focused paradigm? If the solution or the intention is happiness, the solution-focused triad can be pictured in this way. 1. What is the solution? The solution in this case is I am responsible for my own happiness, or I learn to be responsible for my own happiness. 2. Why is this a solution? Because if I'm responsible for my own happiness, nobody else has to be responsible for my happiness. Also, if I'm responsible for my own happiness, nobody else can ever take my happiness away from me. 3. How is the solution maintained? The more I'm responsible for my own happiness, the less I am dependent on others for my happiness. And the less dependent on others I am for my own happiness, the happier I have the capability of being. Therefore, the solution is maintained by me generating my own happiness, by me making the conscious choice to be happy. So with all of the meme triads that we'll discuss in future episodes of Mindful Moments, the objective is to move from a problem-focused paradigm to a solution-focused paradigm by altering the memes that are leading to negative consequences. By altering our memes in this way to a solution-focused paradigm, we become more proactive in creating positive consequences for ourselves and for others.